through my life, I was raised in the church. I always tell when my mom was alive, and I would say it as I was preaching or something, I'd say, yeah, I was almost conceived on the front pew of Glad Tidings Church in Alameda, California, and my mom, she'd almost jump out of her chair to come and scold me, and but I was all through my life, I've been surrounded by positive mentors that encouraged me, helped me along the way. I don't know, just my dad, when we would have family Bible reading and stuff, and it wasn't every day or every morning, but it was like my dad would go to Psalms. He loved the Psalms, and then he would, read maybe a verse or a part of a verse, or and none of Psalms, very few Psalms are very long. So me and my brother, we were all for Psalms because we knew it was going to be short. But it was like, as I got older and realized that those Psalms really did stick with me. And, I think the mentors were so many that it helped me through my whole life. And when I say I'm blessed, you may think you're blessed. I'm really blessed. It's way up there on the blessed scale. And but my sermon text is 2 Kings 8:17. It's 2 Kings 4:8 through 37. Typo. But what I want you to see in this is this is only the second time I've done this on iPad. This Bible verse thing. So bear with me. The Shunammite's son restored to life is the Bible text title. A notable woman invited Elisha into her home and served him dinner. I'll stop right there. One day Elisha went to Shunem, and a well-to-do woman was there who urged him to stay for a meal. So whenever he came by, he stopped there to eat. She said to her husband, I know that you are a man of God, and you are not only a man of God, but you are a holy man of God. Right away, what we see is that Elisha, just by him being there, walking down the path, she knew that he was a prophet, and he made an impact on this woman. For us, as Christian believers, ask yourself the question, am I making an impact on ones that I come in contact with? Am I making a positive impact on ones that I come in contact with? I think all the time that stands out for me, that I want to make sure that I make a positive impact on others. Let's face it, we're all human beings. We're all not perfect. Sometimes we make a negative impact on people. But the focus in our lives as Christians should be to make a positive impact on those we come in contact with. And that's what Elisha did for this lady. And then it says, she said to her husband, I know that this man who often comes our way is a holy man of God. Let's make a small room on the roof and put in it a bed and a table, a chair, and a lamp for him. Then he can stay there whenever he comes to us. One day when Elisha came, he went up to his room and lay down, went up to his room and lay down there. He said to his servant Gehazi, call the Shunammite. So he called her, and she stood before him. Elijah said to her, tell her, you have gone to a lot of trouble for us. Now what can be done for you? Can we speak on your behalf to the king or the commander of the army? She replied, I have a home among my own people. What can be done for her? Elisha asked. Gehazi said, she has no son and her husband is old. Then Elisha said, call her. So he called her, and she stood in the doorway. About this time next year, Elijah said, you will hold a son in your arms. No, my lord, she objected. Please, man of God, don't mislead your servant. But the woman became pregnant, and the next year, about that same time, she gave birth to a son, just as Elijah had told her. I want you to see in this is that Elisha had an impact on this lady. Then she had an impact. No, she had an impact first, and then Elisha had an impact on her, because God says, you're going to have a son. Her husband was old. She said, don't give me any false hope. I'm at the point now where it doesn't matter if I have a son or not. But she believed the prophet. What I want you to see here is she didn't say he was a nice man. She didn't say he was a good man. She didn't say he was just a man. She said, he's a holy man. In being a holy man, she knew that this guy was really, really special. She also knew that this man was going to bless her house by staying at her home. I think about how can, not only how we can bless others, but count the blessings that we have. I think about the fact that the room that she prepared with a table and a chair and everything that he needed, it also had a natural purpose, but it also had a spiritual significance. The bed represents his spiritual rest. The table, his spiritual food. The stool represents communion, and the candlestick represents his testimony. But most importantly, the room provided a place for Elisha to pray, to meditate, and communicate with his God. Just him and God. When I was putting this together, and I thought, each of us needs a place alone to communicate with our God. For me, it's my wood shop. My wood shop is where I do most of my praying, most of my talking to God. And when I say praying and talking, they're kind of the same. But for me, when I talk to the Lord, I'm just talking to the Lord. I'm not using King James language. It's just like communication between you and God is unbelievably important. The other part I wanted to kind of get into here is verses 11 to 17. Let's just go up here a little bit. Oh no, I want to just skip around here. But the woman became pregnant, and the next year, about that same time, she gave birth to a son, just as Elijah had told her. The child grew, and one day he went out to his father, who was with the reapers. He said to his father, "My head, my head." His father told a servant, "Carry him to his mother." After the servant had lifted him up and carried him to his mother, the boy sat on her lap until noon, and then he died. She went up and laid him on the bed of the man of God, then shut the door and went out. She called her husband and said, "Please send me one of the servants and a donkey so I can go to the man of God quickly and return." "Why go to him today?" he asked. "It's not the new moon or the Sabbath." It's not the new moon or the Sabbath. The dad, I don't even know if he knew the boy was gone. But let me see, let me get my point here. Okay. Okay, I'm back. I probably should have brought my Bible, but that's okay. She called her husband and said, "Okay, I'm going." And then she says, "That's all right," she said. She saddled the donkey and said to her servant, "Lead on. Don't slow down for me unless I tell you." So she set out and came to the man of God at Mount Carmel. When he saw her in the distance, the man of God said to his servant Gehazi, "Look, there's the Shunammite. Run to meet her and ask her, 'Are you all right? Is your husband all right? Is your child all right?'" Can I get somebody to help me? Danny, you want to come up here and help me do this? This little... Just put it right here, right in this spot. Next time, put on your shoes. Okay. Hey, wait a minute. Wait. Hey, don't leave. We're not done yet. Okay, just stand by here. So she says to Elisha asks her, "Is it all right? Is your husband all right? Is everything all right?" "Everything is all right," she said. Wait a minute. Her husband just died. Or no, her boy just died. Things are not all right. Rain that stuff down. Lift it high and then rain it down. Do it again. One more time. Maybe 2 more times. You know what's in the wheelbarrow? Manure. Steer manure. It's raining manure. And the Shunammite woman says, it's all right. It's not all right. It's all wrong. Okay, you're done. Yeah. I hope that was shown. I hope they could see that online. But what I want you to see here is when she says it's all right and it's all wrong. Haven't we, each of us, been in the place, in the circumstance that's beyond our control? And we say, no, it's not all right, it's all wrong. Things are not, something's amiss. And then, I don't know about you, but I've said to God, yeah, things are not all right. But that's okay, God. I know that you're going to take your time fixing it. But I can fix it right now. So if you don't want to fix it right now and you want to make me wait, I'm not a waiter. I'm not a patient man. It's going to be fixed now. When my boys were small, and one of my I guess my trademark sayings was, "Do it immediately, if not sooner." Then, oftentimes I would say it to their mom. And then pretty soon I was saying it, and we had 3 businesses. So I would tell the crew, the people who were working for us, hey, do it immediately, if not sooner. I'm not going to tell you please, and I'm not going to tell you thank you, because you're getting a paycheck. And then pretty soon I was graduating to saying, God, Jesus, do it immediately, if not sooner. I was a Christian. I was a deacon in the church and a board member and Sunday school teacher and children's church leader. But there was something not right, because there was something, even though I felt like my heart was right, I was worshiping, I was teaching, and I was still running from the call, but I knew that I wasn't right. And it took years and years and years, actually 17 years. I knew I was called to be a pastor at 23, and I became a pastor 17 years later. Went to Bible college at that time. But what I want you to see in this, what I really want you to just grasp, is when she reached, this is 27, verse 27, when she reached the man of God at the mountain, she took hold of his feet. Gehazi came over to push her away, but the man of God said, leave her alone. She is in bitter distress, but the Lord has hidden it from me and has not told me why. Did I ask you for a son, my Lord? She said. Didn't I tell you, don't raise my hopes? Elisha said to Gehazi, tuck your cloak into your belt, take my staff in your hand, and run. Don't greet anyone you meet. And if anyone greets you, do not answer. Lay my staff on the boy's face. But the child's mother said, as surely as the Lord lives, and as you live, I will not leave you. This lady, when I get to heaven, I want to sit down and talk to her. I want to hear the whole story. She was persistent. She was stubborn. She was going to get what she needed from Elisha. She was going to get what she needed from God. You know the verse that says, pray without ceasing? That's what each of us need to really understand, that the Shunammite woman was, she not only knocked at the door of God, she knocked and knocked and knocked. And I don't doubt that she probably kicked at the Lord, the door of the Lord, pounding on the door, getting what she needed, because her boy was gone. Her boy was dead. I wouldn't doubt that little boy, I'd like to talk to him, because I really get interested in near-death experiences, NDEs. I believe that he probably, well, I know he went to heaven, but then he came back because it wasn't his time to die. But she's still, even though she says it's all right. But remember this, God is always in control of our circumstances. And God is always in control of our disasters. But in the middle of our disaster, we don't see His hand in control of that disaster. Even though we don't know what the future holds, He always knows the future. And He knows, and when I say that, He always knows Ron Kennedy's future. Never does He not know. And oftentimes that's what we have to, in the middle of our disaster, we have to say, God, you know my disaster. You know the circumstances. But I know you're in control. And I wasn't going to say this, but my daughter-in-law, and I would like you all to make this a matter of prayer. Try to remember to pray for my daughter-in-law. She lives in Martinez, and she's my oldest son's wife, and she has bile duct cancer. It's very, very aggressive, very dangerous, and she's goes to the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, and they're trying to get her chemoed up where kill the cancer, and then they'll give her a new liver. But now it's to the point to where if the cancer has spread through all her bile ducts and other parts of her body, because she's going to have another surgery on the 29th of September, And if the cancer has spread, then they'll close her up, send her home to die. That's not what we want for sure. Neither does my son, neither does the family. But please make it a matter of prayer. But I have to go back. As I was doing this sermon, preparing, I says, God, Jesus, I know you're in control. But this looks like it's out of control. But God is still in control. And He can heal her. He can heal her through the doctors. But I just ask that you remember her in prayer. We got a prayer line going practically all over the United States for her. But okay, let's get back here. Gehazi when Elisha reached, she says the boy would not awaken when Elisha when Gehazi put the staff on the boy. When Elijah reached the house, there was a boy lying dead on his couch. He went in, shut the door on the two of them, and prayed to the Lord. Then he got on the bed and lay on the boy, mouth to mouth, eyes to eyes, hands to hands. As he stretched himself out on him, the boy's body grew warm. I want to paint a word picture of this. Elisha did not just walk around and pray. Elisha did a hands-on prayer. Elisha got nose to nose, face to face with this little boy. And he also got face to face with the God whom he served. That's for us. Not only when the circumstance is out of our control, but we need to get face to face in the good times as well as in the bad times. Okay, then let's see, where was I at? The boy's body grew warm. Elisha turned away and walked back and forth in the room, and then got on the bed and stretched out on him once more. The boy sneezed 7 times and opened his eyes. See, Elisha got serious with God. I love that. That's another example of what we're supposed to do as blood-bought saints of the Most High God. Get serious with Him. Not a little serious. And stay serious. Worship Him with all your might, with all your soul, with all your spirit, with all of you. Worship Him. Just flood yourself with your favorite gospel songs. Not only in the bad times, but the good times as well. I mean, I'm not a singer. I can't hold a tune in a bucket. But I'm surrounded by people who can. And you know, Jerry says to me, I was listening to. I'm an old guy, and so I like some of the new tunes, but I like the Gaithers. I like the old. I was raised with them and everything, but some of them just bring me into a place of worship. And Jerry, she's doing something in the house, and she says, and I don't sing a lot, and she says, "You're singing. What's going on?" I said, "Well, every now and then miracles do happen, but but what I want you to see here is that Elisha, he just knows beyond a shadow of a doubt that his God is going to take care of him and the little boy, or the little boy and the family. God is going to make yourself say, "You know what? Today, I'm not going to doubt. I'm not going to fear." Because oftentimes, fear is false evidence appearing real. As Christians, we need to remember that. False evidence as appearing real. That wasn't in my notes. So, Elisha summoned and said, "Call the Shunammite." And he did. When she came, he said, "Take your son." She came in, fell at his feet, and bowed to the ground. Then she took her son and went out. In this story, I'm speculating, but I almost can guarantee that Elisha was jumping up and down. He was having a Holy Ghost dance. I mean, think about that. And in your daily lives, in my daily life, it's okay to have a Holy Ghost dance. Just you and God. Just you and Jesus. Boy, I sure went off my notes. My goodness. For goodness sakes. I could cover another 2 hours of this, but I'm not going to scare you. We won't do that. I just want to close this in I know it's COVID. I know that we hope it's almost over, but I'm just going to close this in. Can you girls go up and play I think it was the third song. I can't even remember what it was, but it sticks in my heart, not my brain. But I want to invite you up, and I want to pray for you. Eye to eye, nose to nose, ear to ear, heart to heart. I want to pray for you that if you have a unbelievable circumstance that you need prayer for, I want to join in that prayer. And we're going to believe that God is going to take care of it. That you are going to see a miracle. If you come